I walked down the dimly lit hallway of Eastwood High School, my footsteps echoing off the cold linoleum floors. It was late in the evening, and I had returned to school to retrieve a forgotten textbook. As I reached my locker, a chilling breeze passed through the corridor, rustling the tattered remnants of old posters on the walls. I shivered, but I brushed it off as a draft from the broken windows. I struggled to remember my locker combination, my fingers trembling. My heart raced, and the silence around me seemed to intensify. I finally managed to open the locker, and as I reached in, my hand brushed against something icy and wet. I pulled my hand back in horror, realizing that it was a severed hand, dripping with fresh blood. My own scream echoed through the empty halls as I stumbled back. Panic surged through me as I looked around for anything that could explain this gruesome scene. But the only response was the distant sound of a creaking door, as if something were approaching. My breathing quickened, and I slammed the locker shut. I had to get out of there. As I turned to leave, I saw the flickering lights at the end of the hallway. It was as if the very darkness was alive, pulsating with an eerie glow. I knew I had to make it to the exit, but dread clung to me like a shadow, slowing my every step. My footsteps echoed in time with my racing heart as I moved closer to the flickering lights. The corridor stretched on forever, the walls adorned with countless photographs of students, their faces distorted into grotesque expressions of agony and despair. I couldn't stop myself from staring at one particular picture. It was me, but it was not. My face was twisted, my eyes hollow, and blood dripped from my mouth. I blinked in disbelief, and the image reverted to normal. Terror coursed through my veins, but I couldn't dwell on it for long. The lights continued to flicker, casting eerie shadows that danced menacingly around me. I quickened my pace, determined to escape this nightmare. With each step, the air grew colder, and whispers surrounded me. I couldn't make out the words, but they sent shivers down my spine. My own voice sounded faint in my ears as I murmured, "This isn't real. It can't be real." As I reached the end of the hallway, the double doors to the exit stood before me. But they wouldn't budge. I pushed and pulled with all my might, but they remained firmly sealed, as if they were mocking my desperation. I turned around, and there she was, a pale, ghostly figure standing at the other end of the hallway. Her eyes were hollow voids, and her long, wet hair clung to her as she glided towards me. She was dressed in a tattered school uniform, her fingers skeletal and elongated. I knew I had to run. I turned and sprinted back down the hallway, desperate to escape her grasp. The lights above flickered more violently now, casting grotesque, elongated shadows that seemed to reach out for me. The whispers grew louder, an eerie cacophony of voices that resonated in my mind. I turned a corner, and to my horror, I found myself back in front of my locker. The severed hand was gone, but the whispers persisted, filling my head with torment. I couldn't take it anymore. I sank to my knees, my hands covering my ears in a futile attempt to block out the voices. The ghostly figure drew closer, her frigid touch sending a shockwave of terror through me. She reached out with her skeletal hand, her mouth opening in a silent scream. In that moment, I knew I was lost. I had become a part of the school's twisted, horrifying history. The lights flickered one last time, and the world around me shattered into darkness. The whispers faded away, and all that remained was the chilling silence of Eastwood High School. I was never seen or heard from again, and my disappearance joined the long list of mysteries that surrounded that accursed school.